Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to VidaneTV. Little Tuesday night action for some RBR Maritime Season 8 action, and we are here at Oswego Speedway, and we are getting ready for 150, 125 laps on the docket for the Royal Door 125 here at Oswego. Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. in the broadcast booth, and alongside me, Ashton Reekie. Ashton, how we feeling tonight, brother?
We're feeling good, Paul. We had a night off last night there due to some private circumstances. Not a big deal. Just wish all those guys the best over on the Fast One side. But tonight we've got the RBR Maritime Racing Series Season 8. As you said before, we're at Oswego Speedway for the Royal Doors 125. We've already got the grid up. These guys have qualified. These guys have run fast times. And on the pole, as you can see, Tanton Woolridge right up front with Ashton Tucker on his outside. Right behind him, the 8 of Devin Laffin in the 3rd position, and the 4th, Riley Duncan, who had a great showing last week. And behind them, another guy who had a great showing in the 141 of Richard Drake. Outside of him, the 83 of Chris Roma.
Yeah, we flip on through here. Noel Fouchier, Dylan Black in a rare B in position 7 and 8. Ryan Messer, Craig Tully back rounding out the top 10. Wade Craswell, Travis Roma back here as we get lapped on around. About 20 cars or so here showing up for the short track, and this is going to be an absolute banger. As you can see, Travis Turple going to round out the field. The pace car going to dip on down to the safety of pit road, and we're going to take a little bit of an extended yellow to get on down into the corners, and we're going to take a peek down on the left side of the racetrack, the inside of the racetrack, for Bubbles in the flag stand. Green flag flies here to Oswego for the Royal Door 125.
It most definitely is going to be a fast one. It's a fast, short track, a very unique track. You got tall walls on the inside, tall walls on the outside, and very wide racetrack. So you're going to see a lot of side-by-side action. The front stretch and the back stretch very wide. We talked about it earlier, Paul. They usually cover this thing in dirt, and that's what I know it best from for the the Super Dirt Car Series. Generally goes here, but we get to watch some asphalt late models make the turns around these tracks tonight.
Yeah, these guys burning this place down. 18-second lap times there in practice and in qualifying, and you can see it's very, very racy. A lot of the drivers preferring to be down on the bottom side of the racetrack. How about a quick time? Devin Laffin, 18.579. I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of that around this racetrack. A little bit better than a half mile. These guys like to rip around it. Caution flag's going to fly, though, here for the very first time here this evening.
Yeah, first yellow of the night. It's a quick one, and again, that's what happens when you get a lot of side-by-side action, Paul. It's one of those racetracks that side-by-side for most of the race, and sometimes you just run out of room. Seems like just going to be a racing incident on this first one. A little bit of contact from the 5 to the 38, gets them around. No harm, no foul. A little bit of contact. One climbing the wall on the outside, just trying to avoid some guys getting collected late on in that one. But first yellow. 122 laps still to go. So if you're going to get involved in one, you might as well get involved in one early and get it out of the way.
That's exactly right. You can see not really any major hits there in there. A little bit of dented up sheet metal on the 29 ride of the Major Melon Mountain Dew. Danny Vitch there on the left front, it looks like. I believe Tully's going to go back to the back. He's going to tap for that one, take the penalty. He has to restart back. It looks like it's going to be scored in 19th, 18th on of the 18 that are still on the lead lap.
Should be a quick yellow here. The 38 coming down pit road, so obviously enough damage for him to be a little bit concerned. He's going to get that looked at, maybe repaired as much as they possibly can, and Travis Roma hopefully going to make his way. Yeah, there he goes. He's going to roll. So just a quick check. Pull out those sheet metal and get it clear of all the tires and get it right back out there, right back on the racetrack. So he's going to line up deep in the field. But like I said earlier, Paul, 120 laps, lots of time to make your way back up, especially at this fast, short track. Multiple lanes to work with. So he'll have lots of time to make his way back up to the front. Hopefully gets a decent finish here, at least a top 10, top 5 would be nice after going all the way to the back.
And there you can see the flag stand I was talking about on the inside of the racetrack. Very unique here at Oswego Speedway. Going to shut the lights off on the iRacing Mustang pace car. 1 to go as we're lined up 2 by 2 all the way through. Tanton Woolridge up in the front. Devin Laffin up there in the P2 spot. Beautiful paint scheme there for the number 8, Dylan Laffin, or rather, Dylan Black. Devin Laffin in the 8, Dylan Black in the 08. That's easy enough to remember. Richard Drake up there as well, Noah Fougier, Ashton Tucker, Riley Duncan, Chris Roma, Ryan Messer, Scott Neeg is going to be the top 10 here. We wait once again for these guys to take the green flag, and there it is from Bubbles up in the flag stand. Great jump by Woldridge in that blue 56.
Something we've known Woldridge to always seem to be good at is those restarts. He times it very well, and as always, great jump out to the front. And then Richard Drake got the idea of the bottom, and he's following the 56 up to the front in the 141. He's on the inside for the fight for second.
Side by side is the battle for second. They're side by side, or they were side by side for fourth on back. They're going to go almost, maybe, possibly, potentially 3 wide. They think a little bit better of it. Ryan Messer going to tuck into the tire tracks there of the 97 car of Riley Duncan. He's working both lanes right now. You can see the 08 car slips back to the 8th position there on the outside. Messer going to peek down low, take that spot away. That 1 car going to be someone to deal with here as we are 10 laps into this one, and that 1 car's moved up quite a few spots.
He has, and the 83 is right in his trail, stuck to his bumper. He's following him through. The 08 does a great job of getting down in between those two, but I noticed the 83 was almost following the line of the 1, and a big wreck for the 08, and that was all just a nowhere to go. A lot of momentum. That one there we'll have to go back and take a look at. And if you want to take care of that, Paul, I'm going to see if I can't pull down the 08 and just see what exactly happened there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll pull up the tapes here and take a little bit of a look-see at it. And this is one of those spots in the race where trying a couple of different things, trying to get everything up and going, and we'll see what happens with the blimp view. You can see they were side by side there for, I believe, 4th place. You can see checked up just a little bit, and nowhere really for everybody to go. Kind of an accordion effect there in behind everybody. A couple of other drivers getting involved. There's Tully getting some more sheet metal on that 5-car, torn all up. It's not quite having the night he wants to have there in that Tolco Electric number 5.
No, absolutely not. That's not the kind of night you want to have. But again, it's still early, still lots of time to go, and the 08 still sitting on pit road. I wasn't able to catch up with him. He's still sitting in the car. I believe they're trying to get this thing repaired and get back out there. I'm going to go and see, I'm going to queue up Scott Negus here and see, Scott, it's Ashton up in the booth there. You close call in front of you. Did you see what exactly happened?
I'm just trying to dodge bullets here, big guy.
Absolutely. The car looks fast tonight. I mean, this track's kind of unique and it's wide. So any strategy to this racetrack other than the others?
We did a little practice run last night, and tire wear for me was atrocious. So I'm just trying to save the right front tire and stay out of trouble.
Sounds good. I wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll talk to you up in, on the podium one of these nights.
Thanks, buddy.
And there you go. So there it is, Paul. I mean, we talk about it all the time. The wear on the tires for these cars, and that just goes to show how realistic these cars are to the real world racing. Saving the tires, saving the fuel, strategy is always a play in these racetracks. There's something else going on out back.
That was interesting.
Oh.
Hello, Craig.
We got a bit of a technical difficulty. For some reason, the server went to Australia, and there is a ton of netcode. So we're going to have a little intermission. I'm going to put up another server, and we're going to run her.
All right. Well, there you go. So we heard it right from the man himself. A little bit of technical difficulty. So we'll have to take a quick break here, Paul. Not something that we're unfamiliar with. We always seem to, in the world of internet, that seems to happen. So just a quick break here. As you guys all heard, we're going to take a quick break and jump servers, come back to North America, and hopefully get this one run. So netcode always seems to be a problem, but especially from Australia. You want some ice cream?
We got ice cream. When did we get ice cream?
I told you I had a McFlurry.
When did you get a McFlurry?
My wife got it for me yesterday, and then I just put it in the freezer, and I remembered it was there.
That's the best. The surprise McFlurries. Oh, we're live. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, we're just talking
shit,
about
yeah.
some snacking and gritting up here and getting re-racked and restacked once again. Having a little bit of connection issue with the server in the iRacing world. You can choose where you want that server to get set up, and well, most of these folks are in the Maritimes in the northeast part of the country, and well, nowhere near Australia. So when you try and race a bunch of drivers locally that is set up on the internet in Australia on the other side of the planet, well, it almost looks like you're trying to watch a Flow Racing broadcast at Florence this week.
Ooh.
Shots fired. Shots
fired. I mean, I figured they got in a kayak and they ran a Ethernet cable across to Australia. I don't even know if it's across. I can't even.
It might be.
I don't know.
Down. Where is? Where are we here? We're up here.
Well, the Earth is flat, right?
Crying out loud.
Nonetheless.
No. Hang on. Then explain ranking on the racetrack. The world's not flat.
Well, it is. They just took some of the flat dirt and added it to the corners, and then put asphalt on top of it.
They took some of the flat dirt and they made it round dirt. Crying out loud. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for putting up with our little bit of, we'll call it a rain delay. Got everything all sorted out here with the server. We're going to restack. We're going to re-rack. We're going to put 125 laps on the board, and we are restarting essentially from the original qualifying lineup. So going to get a lap or two to warm the tires up. These drivers got the additional 10 minutes of additional warm-up time just to make sure everything is ready to rock and or roll. Make sure all the bugs and kinks are worked out of the server, and it is indeed set up somewhere where we don't have to go all the way across the world to get the connection.
Right, and I mean, it pays off for quite a few guys that might have been involved in something a little of a scuffle earlier on. Some guys single file out the back there, lots of laps to get up there, so I think it was just by the matter of the server change, and that's not a big deal. They'll make their way up to the front. Ryan Messer's a little bit further back, but not a big deal. He'll make his way up there. We are green, quick green there, and we are back to racing in North America, back to where we're supposed to be.
And you can see Tanton Woldridge, doesn't matter what continent the internet's hooked up to, he's still great on restarts. Pulled away by 2 or 3. That 8 car pretty much hooked up in the tire tracks. Richard Drake in the 141 Laker News ride there in third single file. They're doubled up for fourth for now. The 97 car, Riley Duncan, going to slide on up in front of Ashton Tucker, who holds on to 5th, but for how long?
Great job by Noah Fougier getting his nose underneath there, getting that bottom line, hugging that wall. So that wall, Paul, on the inside, and I've seen it quite a few times, a couple guys in practice just touching that inside wall, and when they do that, it shoots them straight right up the track, as we already have the 97 with a quick time already. And like you said earlier, Paul, we're going to see a lot of those tonight. This track gets faster and faster as these cars get into a rhythm, but that inside wall, if you even touch it just a little bit, it shoots you up the track. And if you got somebody to the outside, thankfully the track's wide enough, but it's not that wide, and it could end up quite messy as we have another quick time, Ryan Messer, up to the top of the board.
Yeah, there's nothing messy about Messer's drive, and we'll ride on board with him for a lap or two. We already saw him drive his way into the top 10 or so in the first 20 laps rather, in that last event before we got the reset. We smashed that reset button, as it were, and gonna be somebody to keep an eye on for sure, as it's usually the 1 car. Not sure why it's scored as the 97 here, but in any sense, that 1 car very, very quick. Won both the RBR Maritime Series race and the NEP race last week. So very, very quick in the 1 camp. Ryan Messer winning racing, looking for some championships this season.
Absolutely. He's already, got 1 under his belt, as I believe he came out as the Super Late Model Series champion this year, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. I know he was in the battle with very fast driver Corey Hall, and I know they were right down to the last race, so he could already have 1 championship under his belt. Right now, he's following the tracks of the 29 of Danny Beach, nice and tight to the back there. It's the 57 also making up some ground from the back of the pack there. You see him taking this a little bit wider, and again, there's nothing wrong with that, holding up the momentum, just trying to keep that thing smooth and keep the tires underneath it for the first half of this race. We have a lot of movers on the move already. Conrad Murphy already up 4 positions. Doesn't sound like a lot, but at a big track like this, when they get single file, 4 positions is a lot of ground to make up early on in a race.
Indeed it is, and I apologize for the numbers being all out of whack here with timing and scoring. I think it's still trying to hook up to the last server we were in or something. I'm not really too sure what that is because it looks good on the actual timing and scoring sheet. So not sure what's going on with those graphics. We'll try and get that squared on away. Getting a little bit spicy up front, though, for that 3rd position. Noel Fougier down on the bottom side. That's 4th position. The top 3, they're all sorted up. Fougier down on the bottom side. He's going to get around Richard Drake there in the 141. The 83, going to see that door cracked open. He's going to try and get himself a little bit closer to the top 5.
Right behind them, you see Ashton Tucker kind of swinging it wide and getting it down. Look at the momentum he got, being able to use the whole racetrack. Like the guys side by side in front of him not being able to get up right to the wall and then swing their way down, but Ashton Tucker with lots of room to be able to do that. He's now underneath the 141 Laker News machine of Richard Drake.
Getting stuck up on that high groove, finally able to break on down onto the bottom side all the way down to the apron, and the 141 found a little bit of a spot to kind of stretch the wheels out on that car. In the 6th spot right now. He has a little bit of breathing room on back to the 2-car. Ashton Tucker driving it hard on in there, backing up just a little bit. He's got a mirror full of Travis Roma. Ryan Messer breaking his way into the top 10 there as well, as he just got around Tully for 9th.
Tully in that number 5 car, making his way to the front there. He's one of those guys that's benefiting from the server change, from the rain delay. He was into a couple small incidents, didn't have too much damage, but certainly he was having to go to the back 2 or 3 times. So he's going to benefit from this, and he's going to try and work his way up there. We're going to try and have a word with him. New paint scheme this week. I know he had a throwback, kind of a vintage style last week, and then something new again this week. So if we get a chance, we are going to try and radio him from up here into the car and see if we can't get a word with him. But he's followed again, Danny Veach, in that very beautiful paint scheme that he's got going on. He hasn't changed it in the last couple of years, but I don't think there's a need to. That thing looks sharp.
Yeah, always had. You can see there's no missing the Major Melon Mountain Dew number 29 car, that's for sure. Very loud paint scheme, and trying to break his way to the top 10. You can see he's just right in the tire tracks of Tully right now in that number 29 car. A lot of Danny Veach fans out there as well, and want to thank everybody for tuning in here live almost all over the internet. Not sure what's going on with the Facebook stream, but it doesn't appear that it fired off like it should have tonight. But we are live on Twitch and live on YouTube, so be sure to give us a like, to follow, to subscribe, to share, all that good social media stuff. Let your friends and family know you're watching a little bit of sim racing action here on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, let us know where you're watching from. So if you're watching and there's a comment section there, I know Paul, I believe, is monitoring the one. I'm monitoring the YouTube. So let us know where you're watching from. We'll give you a shout out. We'll try and get you interactive into this event as we get our first yellow with 107 laps to go.
Couple of drivers off the pace. Conrad Murphy, John Byron in the 89 and the 57. We'll see if we can back up the old instant replay. Forgot there's a button for that now. Boop. There we go. We'll hit the button, and you can see there's the 57. It looks like the 34, Mike Rhino, off the pace just a little bit. Got a tap from the 57, who then got a tap from, I believe that was Murphy. Let's double check that number on that. The 89, I believe. Indeed it was. The 89 of Conrad Murphy. Could have been a whole lot worse, but a little bit of bent up sheet metal here towards the back of the pack.
Yeah, there's no real heavy contact. I mean, it might have pushed the bumpers in a little. Quick check of the sheet metal. Make sure nothing's rubbing. Make sure there's no smoke, and keep her rolling. That was a light yellow for what we saw in the past, Paul. We've seen some pretty big wrecks around this racetrack with how fast and wide it is. So no harm, no foul. Those guys will get back in line and make their way back to the racetrack as soon as they get all those repairs done.
Indeed, they will. You can see everybody still lined up, or getting lined up behind that iRacing Mustang pace car, and going to take ourselves a couple of laps around Oswego Speedway. We've been here a couple of times before here on VidaneTV. Neat little racetrack. We've seen the flag stand down on the inside of the track, kind of unique for most of the races we cover here on VidaneTV, and pretty close by for the both of us. You and I were talking before we came back on the air here that it might be worth the drive out to check out some dirt racing on this place.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks that I've seen it on TV and I've heard a lot of stories. I got to catch a quick glimpse of it just in passing on one of my short trips that I was taking, and it's one of those deals that if you're on the front stretch and you're in the grandstands, the echo from the race cars is absolutely wild. It reverberates off the steel roof, and it's almost piercing, but it makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, when the danger count rises at the racetrack and there's more ways to get hurt, it usually ends up being a lot more fun. At least that's how I look at it.
Absolutely. I mean, no risk, no reward, right?
That's what it's all about. Lights off the iRacing pace car. He's going to take that left-hand turn down to the safety of pit road, and it gives us the opportunity to drive back towards the flag stand and grab that green flag once again, as we're going to get racing here once again. 125 laps on the docket. We're about 25 or so into this one. Had a little bit of a connection issue with the server earlier on. We got that all sorted out. We're connected up to the internet that we should be, and we are racing. Green flag flies once again.
97 had a great jump on the inside. He followed the 56 of Woolridge very tightly on that restart. He timed it almost perfectly, and he's got the 8 on the high side. He's got him out there, and hopefully if he can stay to the bottom, the momentum of the 8 really working on the top side right now. The 97 looks like he's going to make that clear pass into 1 and 2, and out of 2, he's clear, and it looks like the 36 is now going to work to the bottom of the 8 and hold on to that third place position.
Beating and banging up towards the front end, the top 5 still side by side. No Fougier making that 36 car work for him. He's going to get around laughing down to the bottom side, move himself up into the podium spot. Here comes Riley Duncan, though, all over the back bumper of Tanton Woolridge in the 56 car, and it looks like we may have gotten timing and scoring all squared away, but now the car numbers are green, so we're not sure what that is. We're going to take we're going to cut our losses. We're going to call it a small victory. And we'll run with that. I think green numbers are okay.
Absolutely, with green numbers. I mean, green and orange aren't really the exact same color, but I'm looking at the one car. He started at the back, Paul, and he's already up working towards the top 5. He is on a mission, and he has the 2 car right in his trails as we go on board with the 1 car of Ryan Messer. Look at how smooth he is into the corner. Barely a turn of the wheel to get to the inside. And then out of the corner, hard on the gas, straight down the straightaway. Both those walls very, very white. And like I said earlier, if that inside wall catches you, it bites you hard and it shoots you right up to the outside. You see the guy swerving down the front stretch. You see the bumps in the racetrack. It doesn't exactly mean anything, but it's not exactly a smooth racetrack, and that's what we were talking about earlier about the tire wear. As he gets into the back of the 83, they checked up. I was going to mention earlier, he is rolling the center really good, hard impact into the wall. It looked like it was the 141 of Richard Drake.
I believe it was. I didn't see it, but I definitely heard it. There you see the Laker News Ride pointed in the wrong direction. So we're going to pull up the U.S. Racing Designs instant replay once again, and we'll back that up just a little bit more. Because it looks like it may have been a pretty big hit. There you can see a little bit of an accordion effect. As we'll back it up just a little bit. Keep an eye on that 2 car there of Ashton Tucker up in front. And we're going to swap this over to the chopper view so we can actually get a good view of it. There you can see the checkup up front with the 83. Messer checks up, Tucker checks up, 141 checks up, and well, there's no more room to check up there, unfortunately, at that point.
Yeah, not as hard of a hit as I thought it was. But yeah, that started up even in front of Messer. It was the 83. In front of the 83, there was a guy sideways. Just some tough luck for the 141 Laker News machine. A little bit of contact there afterwards. Richard Drake is going to pull this thing down pit road to the team and see if they can put some repairs to this thing. A nice bright pink toolbox there. Easy to find your pit saw when it's that bright.
Yeah, indeed it is, and it's funny. I get frustrated with iRacing every now and again when you're following a car, and then all of a sudden the car stops, and there's a pole right in the middle of the screen. But then when you switch over to the real racing world, and you and I both know when you're behind the camera, you're trying to get that shot. There's always a pole in the way. iRacing does a
Always.
really good job, even with the frustrating things.
Always. There's always a light post or a fan
Or a
that
trailer.
stands up right in front of you, or
Yes,
a trailer.
or a fan for sure.
Absolutely, and looks like everything. It looks like Richard should be able to get that thing repaired and back out there.
Can't tell if they're working on it or if they're unhooking and getting ready to roll it up onto the trailer. That 141 cam, kind of tough to tell.
As I said, the initial hit didn't seem to be too as bad as it sounded, but that second shot might have done some damage to the steering of that vehicle. I know he's in a points race, so I have a feeling he's going to be in one of those situations as they're doubled up, lights are off on the pace car. It might be one of those situations that he might just get the car out there to limp it around for some laps to try and get some extra points. But I know they are doubled up. They are racked up, stacked up, and coming around 3 and 4. Pace car pulls off on the backstretch, so they got a long time before they get that green flag in that starting box. And the 56 knows how to time that perfectly. As you'll see right here, he fires off. Great start by the 97 on the outside. Got a little loose, and Noel Fougier was able to stick to the bumper of the 56. He's going to battle for the second position.
Great restart by the 56 of Tan Woldridge. Better restart by the 83 of Chris Roma. He was able to jump from 5th on down to 3rd and get tucked onto the bottom side of the racetrack, all the way straddling that yellow line down the bottom side. And we saw the 36 car use the bottom of the racetrack to get up to 2nd. Here comes the 83. He's going to boot that door down. He's going to try and take away P2. Big wiggle there from the 83. He catches it, but it opens the door for Metzer in the 1 car.
It does, and the 36 also had a little bit of a slip up that opened the door for the 83, who then, as you said, had a little bit of a slide coming out of the corner. Now all eyes are on the battle, what looked to be a battle for 5th, but they are going to go single file. Duncan finally finding a hole there behind Ashton Tucker to slide into. Ashton Tucker and Ryan Messer are on a mission to the front, but they've got 3 cars in front of them that have been rocket fast all night long.
And you can see everybody starting to get into that rhythm, starting to get into the rhyme as they get around this racetrack. 18-second lap times, a little bit better than a half mile. This place is going to start racking off laps really, really quickly. 88 laps to go here. Tan Woldridge still up front by a car length, maybe 2, over Noel Fougier. But you can see Noel Fougier has a mirror full of Roma. That 83 car is making himself high, wide, and handsome. He is all over the back bumper of that 36 car.
He's doing a great job of just tucking that nose in there and being smart, waiting for that door to open up as it did earlier on. And same thing with behind him. Ryan Messer, Ashton Tucker, Riley Duncan, all doing the same thing. They're all just waiting for that opportunity to pounce. And with 86 laps to go, there's still lots of time to make your moves, but you want to be in the right position when it comes to late in the race, and you also want to save as much of your gear as possible. So I think all these guys are kind of in conservation mode. Let's get some laps logged in here, and you're going to see some 2-wide, 3-wide racing later on in this one for sure.
Got to be in the back of the mind of the drivers here too. They had the connection issues with the original server being hooked up to the Australian servers, so having to drive next to some drivers with the connection not quite being there. You hear drivers all the time talk about the net code and the internet not being what it should be, so it adds a little bit of lag, a little bit of jumpiness to it. So these drivers, a little bit of a bump there from Roman to the back bumper of Fougier. He holds on to it. There was no net code there, but they got it all sorted out. That's going to open the door up on the high side for Messer. Is that high side going to come in? Oh, Fougier's around. Did he get help? I don't know. We're going to take a peek at that for sure. That was a little bit of calamity up there towards the front of the pack.
I'm not sure if he got help either, Paul. I wasn't able to see from the angle that we were on there, but for sure the speed out of the 36 was kind of slowing down in the center of the corner. I don't know if he was having rotating issues. I don't know if that right front was going away, but you clearly see there earlier on a little bit of contact. He showed his nose there. The 36 closes the door, and he kind of gives him a little, hey, I'm right here, and we've talked about that many times. Usually you get 3 strikes. Instead, that was his second, because going into this corner, that was it. He was going around.
Yeah, that's a tough situation for Fougier to be in because he had Messer up on the high side as well. You can see Roma gets a piece of the action. He's able to grab a gear and get going once again. Everybody going to rejoin the front of the field, and it's looking more and more different in that top 5. Woldridge still up front, Messer in second, Tucker third, Duncan and Travis Roma going to round out the top 5 as they run.
Yeah, great run by Duncan. He's really strong. He's been strong all night long. He's keeping up with the boys out front. And I know he was kind of almost involved in this most recent one. I think he was able just to get out of the way and avoid any major contact. So, like I said, great run for Duncan. It's nice to see him up front in the top 5, and he's running very, very well, very consistent on his lap times.
You know, it's funny, Ashton, you and I were talking before the show, and then we've got the voice chat up here, we've got the Discord here, and we've got this, there's a fella up in here, it was RFD97. Who the heck is RFD97? Riley freaking Duncan 97. Riley, this is Paul up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Solid connection, sir. Good racing so far. You're up in the top 5. What do you got to get the, what do you got for Woldridge up there in the top?
Oh, it's really bottom dominant, so starting on the outside is not good. You lose a lot of positions, so we're going to have to get a long green run in order to pass them.
Anybody out there watching you want to say hi to?
No, not really, to be honest.
All the fans, all the sponsors, and everybody that's going to be hanging out partying afterwards. Looks like we're coming to 1 to go. Good luck.
Thank you.
Riley Duncan in the 97 car. Always cool to be able to talk to the drivers here under caution. I think we catch a lot of guys off guard. I think we caught Riley off guard a little bit there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's always fun talking to the drivers, talking to the spotters, things like that. But sometimes it does. Sometimes these drivers are in a zone, focused on what they're doing their jobs, doing what they have to do in the office of the race car. And sometimes, when we grab them like that out of nowhere with no warning, we like to catch them off guard and keep them on their toes.
100%. The driver's going to get the 1 to go this time. You're going to see everybody line up behind the pace car 2 by 2 all the way through. Woldridge down the bottom side. Messer up top. Tucker, Duncan, Roma the top 5. Tolevich, McRae. I don't think we've talked about JJ McRae in that 78 car all night so far, running solidly in that 8th position. John Byron in the 57. Great recovery for him, getting caught up in an earlier wreck. He is up in the 9th position. Devin Laffin up in the top 10. Scott Negus, Wade Craswell, Noah Fougier back in the 13th position. Going to be the last car on the lead lap. 17 still in the field. Pace car's gone. We are green racing once again here at Oswego.
And you heard it right away from Duncan. He was saying about the bottom dominant, and you saw Ryan Messer not really get on the throttle. Now, we all know that Tanton Woolridge's restarts are so strong, but in this case, I think it was a strategy move by the 1 car. He let the 56 get out there, and right when the 56 got clear, he tucked his nose in behind the 56 to get that bottom dominant and not have to fall too many positions. Same thing with Riley Duncan. He did the exact same thing as we go on board again with Ryan Messer. He's got the helmet cam that we provided him. He said he would be excited to run that so we could see the hand movements and the hard work he puts into it. A little bit bumpier of a track or of an angle this time. As you can see, he's sawing at the wheel a little bit more. So, 75 laps to go. That right front's maybe coming off a little bit of right-hand turn there, which you don't often see out of these guys unless the car's getting a little loose, which that could exactly be the case. You hear a little bit more tire squealing, sawing at the wheel down the front stretch, but he's right underneath that back bumper of Tanton Woolridge.
Yeah, 50 laps into this one. The more fuel we burn off the back of these late models, the more the back end's going to want to lift up off the ground, and you can see that's starting to affect the way these drivers run. Last time by for Ryan Messer was an 18.7. His best time was 18.4, so not much slower than where we were before, but definitely seems like these cars are loosening up as we get into this one.
Yeah, that pace is going to fall off just a bit, and I am actually shocked that it hasn't fallen off more than it has with the long runs that we've had. Generally, with a lot of heat in these tires, when you get more wear, Ryan Messer up into the outside wall, trying to use as much of this racetrack as possible. No harm, no foul. He's just trying to get as much room and as much momentum out of this. As you see Ashton Tucker slowly falling back a little bit. Ryan Messer running a little bit higher line. He's almost leaving about half of the door open on the bottom, just trying to find his way, trying to find a bit of extra speed to be able to get by Tanton.
Everybody else pretty much single file throughout the field. The battle is up front. Messer wants to take over that lead, but he is just waiting for the opportunity to do so. We ride on board once again, and you can just see those bright white driver's gloves. You can see them from this shot. You can see them down through the windshield, and a lot of times drivers will be able to look into the mirrors of the car and see just how hard they're fighting the wheel. Messer going to try and take a shot up on the high side this time but that's going to open the door briefly for Ashton Tucker in that 2 car. Tucks back into the tire tracks for the time being. 69 laps to go at the line.
Yeah, I think Ryan Messer's trying something that I've seen only one other guy really be able to do in watching a lot of racing, and that was Colton Everingham. I know he ran a lot of the Tim's Corner TV specials, and he did it in real life. He was one of the best at doing it at Sunset Speedway. That high entry, and in the center of the corner, if you can get that car to rotate, you can get down to the bottom and almost do some sort of a dirt crossover, but with an asphalt car, and you're able to get a little bit more momentum and get your nose underneath the guy in front of you, and allows you to take a better position to the next corner. But he's just not close enough. But you can see he's trying it. Riley Duncan, I think, has learned a little something, because he's trying the same thing on Ashton Tucker.
Yeah, I had to switch it up to the drone camera just to try and show how different the line is from the 1 and the 56. The 1 has that higher entry that you made mention, almost trying to get a late apex. There's Duncan taking a shot down low on Tucker. Tucker's going to give him the spot. Move that 97 car up into 3rd. And you can see Messer still holding that line about a half a car length width or so high on Woldridge. So you can see almost gave him just a little bit of a bump there in the back of the 56 car. But gathered it back up. You can see backed up just a little bit and right back onto the hunt. The 1 car is there. What's he going to do with him?
It's absolutely helping his entry, Paul. He's able to roll that entry a lot further into the corner, but he's almost, I don't want to say he's losing it on exit, because there's really no gap difference when they come down the straightaway. But he's working it really well. It worked for Duncan to get by the 2 machine. It also worked for the 38 to get by the 2 machine, as we have a new guy in 4th position, a bright yellow vehicle who has also come from, I'm going to say he started about halfway back through the field there, so he's also having a great run in the 38 of Roma, coming up to the front real quickly also.
Yeah, may have found something as the tires start to wear on that 38 car. The Chris Romer machine, who ran well earlier on, caught a lap down currently. Right now, a little bit further on back. A bit of a gap there back to Ashton Tucker. He's got some breathing room. There's the boss man, Craig Tully. Solid recovery for him. He's right outside the top 5 there in 6th. There's a Major Melon Mountain Dew, number 29 car. One of the loudest paint schemes I think we've ever had here on VidaneTV. Danny Vitch holding tough there in 7th position. About that 78 car, JJ McRae running in 8th. Scott Negus talked to him earlier on in the double 5s. He's back there in 9th. And John Byron holding on to the 10th position.
Really great runs for all 3 of those cars. They've had a rough start to the season and a couple really tough racetracks. So it's nice to see those 3 cars in the top 10 and running really well. They're no slouches. They're not falling back too much either. They're setting the same pace or very similar pace to your leaders who are battling right now for the position. As you still see Ryan Messer trying those different lines. He's working really hard, and it concerns me that he might be running the gear a little too hard, and hopefully Duncan's saving a little bit, because he might have a chance to pounce on these 2 towards the end of the race.
Yeah, Duncan has a little bit of breathing room in front of and behind that 97 car. And now's the best opportunity that he's going to have to kind of learn what those guys are doing up front. He's able to really see that line that Messer's running. He's a little bit higher on, that time he's a little bit lower on Tanton Woldridge. So could be a little bit of homework going on. Caution flag going to fly, though, once again. Negus in the 55 car pointed in the wrong direction.
Don't tell Scott that we talked about him.
That's what it was. Commentary curse all the way around. Here you can see a little bit of a bump there from Byron in the 57. A little too hot to trot. Racing deal, short track racing. That happens. Great job there by Negus by holding the brakes, letting the field come on through to not cause any further incidences. A little bit of a lazy spin, but everything A-OK for the 55 car.
I think that got us off the hook. Had he spun on his own, he would have blamed us.
Right, and that's happened to timer 12.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So Negus going to rejoin the field there. May come down and try and get some service. A couple of drivers, looks like, going to come down pit road, as it were. And actually, it might have looks like they just there we go. Bouchier's going to come down and get some tires. Believe still on the lead lap. Indeed, he is. The 36 car down and away, 4-tire change. A little bit of damage, it looks like, on the 36 car, but they got that all sorted out. Going to rejoin the field. Looks like 13 cars on the lead lap.
For the size of the track that it is and for how fast it is, that's it's not surprising to have still so many cars on the lead lap, Paul. But it's also a field full of very talented drivers. We watch these guys every week, week in, week out. Generally, once we're done the show, we usually tell each other, "Hey, great show. That was some great racing," is generally what the consensus ends up being. Usually there's always some tight racing, nose to tail, whether they're not side by side coming to the line. Usually there's something exciting going on the white flag lap. So these guys, I don't want to say they're seasoned veterans because some of them are younger than we are, but they're very talented drivers, and they do a lot better than I would ever do.
That's one of the wild things you got to take a moment to kind of sit back. Well, I have to take a moment to kind of sit back and look at because I'm old. Been doing this a long time, this whole sim racing deal, and there's kids that are getting out in there, right after high school and getting into it, and here I am. I've been doing it for over 2 decades, so being able to kind of get everybody on the same playing field and everybody kind of working the same race cars, same racetracks is kind of neat. And speaking of drivers that have things kind of figured out here, he won twice here on VidaneTV last week. He's in a good spot here tonight. Ryan, let's follow up in the booth real quick before we go green here. You got anything to get around Tanton?
I don't know yet. I was just trying to play around and with different lines and pick up points and see what I'm going to be able to throw at him here. So I had to come from the back. Wasn't too bad getting up through. Tried to take it easy on it, but probably before the end of this, we're going to have to throw everything we got at him. So we'll see what happens.
Lights are out. Time to go back to work. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ryan Messer, a student of the game, wins a lot of races, runs a lot of races here on VidaneTV, and trying to get himself another W, but he's going to have to get around that 56 car. You heard him. He tried high, he tried low, and we might have to throw the kitchen sink here at him shortly.
And we talked about that, Paul. I mean, he was trying every possible different thing, so it's exactly what we talked about. We were in his head. We knew exactly what he was thinking, so they're coming out of 4, and 56 is still leading the field. A great jump by the 1 car. They're going to be even at the line on the restart. That you don't see too often with the 56 controlling the field.
That was a monster restart by Messer, and a gamble just a little bit. He saw he was able to stay out on the high side. Duncan didn't quite get the restart that matched those guys, so Messer had a little bit of a breathing room. He had an opportunity to try and get around the 56 on the high side. Nothing quite there, though. Tucked back into the tire tracks, going back to it. Going to study the back bumper of that 56 car. Has a little bit of breathing room now because he can look into the rearview mirror and sees that 97 car backing up just a little bit, because he's got a mirror full of that 2 car who slides up a little bit. Tucker backing up just a little bit to that Roma machine.
Yeah, he made a great move on the restart there. The 2 car did. He dove right down to the bottom underneath the 38 and was able to grab that position, but then kind of lost a little bit of that momentum coming out of the corner. I believe the car got a little loose on him, so he was able to fall back from the 97. So Duncan kind of in a comfortable position here. He's able to have the front seat to watch the battle up front of him and a little bit of space behind him that he has to worry about. So he doesn't have to play too much defense, just has to hit his mark and run his race the way he wants to run it. 38 back up to the back bumper of the 2 car as they kind of gain a little bit of difference. And then Bossman, Tully, sitting himself comfortably in the 5th position.
Single file throughout the field here. This lead battle is heating up. We're just waiting to see when, not if, but when that 1 car pounces. We've seen Messer in this position before. He's going to ride in the back bumper, learn everything he can, learn where that car's going quick, learn where it's going slow. He's going to get around him at the most possible, or the best possible time. You can see he tries to get a run down on the bottom side, kind of shoots up on the high side just to see where it'll take him. And you can see he's doing something different here, Ashton, on every single lap and every single corner. It's almost, who was the wizard in the Avengers? Was it Doctor Who or Doctor Strange, where he sat there, he's like, these are all the different ways that this could possibly happen, but only one opportunity is when I win the race?
And that's exactly it. He's tried I don't know if there's any other lines on the racetrack that he hasn't tried, because he's tried them all. And that last one there, right when we started talking to him, he got right up to his back bumper on the corner exit, and I thought, you know what, that might be the one that he needs to get to the bottom there. There it is again, right on that front bumper, on that back bumper to the front bumper of his car to the back bumper of the 56. But the 56 is still really fast down the straightaway as he gets the nose below him. He's showing him that he's there, but Tanton Woolridge is going to close the door. That was risky.
And it was, but one of the cool things is Tanton and Ryan, they race each other in real life. They race each other here on the sim. So Tanton's just running his race. He knows that he can trust that Messer's going to get down in there. If it's not going to work, he's going to think better of it and restack, re-rack, try it again next time by. That time, Messer went a little bit too high, opened the door briefly for the 97 car of Riley Duncan. He thought a little bit better of it, and he's back into the tire tracks once again. But Messer still on the hunt with 42 laps to go, trying to get up to the back bumper of Tanton Woolridge.
Messer mentioned it. He had to come from the back of the field, so how much tire does he really have left on that machine? He said it didn't take him too long and that it wasn't too much of a battle. And I think most guys know when they see the one in their mirror, he's on a mission to the front. And if you're one of those guys about mid-pack and you know you don't have the car, today's not your day, generally you move up out of the way or let him take the preferred line. So it wasn't too difficult, but he certainly had to use more equipment than what this 56 has, as he, I believe, has led every single lap of this race again.
Indeed he has, and there you can see there's a couple of different times where Messer will really close up on the back bumper. I mean, he almost has to take some of that momentum and move it up into the high side, and that gives the opportunity for Duncan to close on up, and that's going to bring caution flag. 78 car, J.J. McRae pointed in the incorrect position here. Caution flag with 39 laps to go.
Again, another driver that we talked about earlier on. Hopefully it's not a curse of the commentators. Again, no, a little bit of help going around this time. Again, no major impact or anything like that, so he'll be all right. But another driver that we were talking about earlier having a great run tonight. Generally a top 10 car, and he was just that. He was in the top 10 position when we talked about him earlier. They exited the corner, and I think just a little bit of a momentum change on the 78, whether he got loose and checked up or what it might be, that the 89 just a little bumpski and got him around.
Yeah, able to grab a gear and get rolling once again. No harm, no foul. They're going to restart in the 13th position. Looks like the final car on that lead lap for the 78 car. Gives them a good opportunity here to come down and potentially get some tires, potentially get any repairs done. But it looks like he had himself a solid restart there in the 78. Just taking a look at timing and scoring, I believe there's 15 cars on the lead lap. Mike Rhino is down on pit road, 20 laps down in 17th, and we saw Rational Richard Drake have some issues multiple laps ago. Still down on pit road, unfortunate for the Laker News ride, but the 141 machine is done, and that's going to be big for the points game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about this in the other races, Paul, with shortened season, only a handful of races left, less than a handful of races left in this season for these guys. It doesn't mean their iRacing seasons are over, as you know, a lot of them jump over to the NEP series or to the TCM special. So we're not done talking about these guys, but for the RBR series, a little bit of a shorter season this year, and it makes every race so important. It makes every point matter. So I know one drop out of or one DNF can kind of really affect the point series, especially when you got guys like Tanton Woolridge, Ryan Messer, Ashton Tucker all running so solid this year. I know Ashton Tucker said he might not be here full time. He might have to miss a couple, but when he is here, he's generally up at the front.
And that's one of the tough things, too, is if you get into the season and know that you're going to miss a handful of the races, even if there is a drop, the competition is so tight with not only the RBR series here on Tuesday nights, but all of the leagues that run with us here on VidaneTV this winter. And we have got a lot of them. Fast one off this week for the holiday. They rejoin us next Monday night. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. Well, tomorrow night going to be the Turf 4 podcast Winter iRacing League, and the NEP group is off for Thursday for Thanksgiving here in America. I'll be out in Mississippi doing some kart racing. It's going to be a whole lot of fun with the Pit Road TV group. Be sure to tune in and check out some of our work at the Batesville go-kart event this weekend, and that's at pitroadtv.com. Lights are out, pace car's gone. We're lined up 2x2. Green flag flying once again. Look at the restart from Metzer in that one.
He's got those restarts timed with Tanton Woolridge, but that outside line's just not there for him to be able to pull even. As I say that, he's going to make me look silly. He's going to stay even, nose to tail, with the 56 of Tanton Woolridge as they are door-to-door coming down the straightaway. Look at him fighting the wheel off the corner, just trying to hold on to it. He's going to have to tuck back down so he doesn't lose too many positions, but he just proved to himself that that outside line for at least 2 or 3 laps does have potential. 100 and something miles per hour down the straightaway. That's not slow by any means.
No, not at all. And being able to make all of those micro decisions each and every lap around this racetrack is absolutely astounding, whether it's a real car or a sim car. And you can see Messer still trying to get up on a little bit higher entry, going to try and get down on the bottom side this time by, you can see right on that yellow line, just doing everything he can to try and get around that Tan Woolridge ride. But Tanton doing everything he can. He's running the perfect race. He made mention he's led all the laps so far. 30 laps to go. Single file for the front 3 or 4, little side-by-side action here for 4th and 5th. Travis Roma down on the bottom side. Ashton Tucker in the 2 car. He was up top. He's going to tuck in down on the bottom side, try and cross over down on the bottom side. That's going to give Tully and Fougere a little bit of opportunity to race each other side by side.
Yeah, he tucked down, and there wasn't much room there. I honestly thought the 5 was going to be able to jump on the opportunity as he was, as Ashton Tucker was stuck up on the outside, but the 2 car found a little bit of a gap, and spotter said clear, and he went right when he said clear. So the 5 car also, ooh, the 2 car touches that inside wall. I mentioned it earlier. It eats you up when you tap that inside wall. The 5 car of Tully's going to move to the inside as the 2 slides high again. The 36 sticking to the bumper of the 5. He's also going to take that opportunity and try and make the move past the 2 of Ashton Tucker.
And you can see that line of cars down on the bottom side. Fougere in the 36 going to try and boot the door down as well. Danny Fitch in the 29. He is there. There's not really a good opportunity for Tucker to get back down on the bottom side of the racetrack. And it's not quite coming in like we've seen it do here at so many different racetracks on VidaneTV. A little bit of a slip up there for the 29 car. Tucker sees him there. He slides up just a little bit more. Trouble ensuing for the 2 car of Tucker, just trying to get down on the bottom side.
He's doing everything he can to fight the car on the high side. I thought with that little wiggle from the 29 of Danny Vitch that the 2 car was going to be able to hold on to it, but his spotter said, hey, the 29's a little loose, move up the track, and he wasn't able to get it. The exit of the corner of the 2 right there was almost like a rocket ship getting launched out. The 57 looking to the inside of the 29. This racing back here, side-by-side action is just incredible.
And oh, by the way, there's Devin Laffin in the 8 car. We saw him up front earlier on. He's mired back here in the 10th position. And these guys in the second half of the top 10, just outside of it, looking in as well. They know the time to go is now. 25 laps to go, and every single point matters, as we've seen the story time and time again here in the RBR Maritime group. Back up front, still the same story. Tanton Woolridge with a mirror full of Ryan Messer.
97 of Duncan's kind of in that comfortable position again. There's the sitting in 3rd, the 4th and 5th guys have kind of singled it out. That seems to be the Roma and Tully back there. So as we go on board with Riley Duncan, he's got black gloves. We're going to have a conversation with him, tell him to switch up and put something bright on so we can see those hands at work in the office. But nice and smooth through the center of the corner and hard on the gas to get out of the corner. Getting it up to 120 miles per hour before having to let off the corner to get the car to rotate through 3 and 4. And sorry, 1 and 2 to go down the backstretch.
And you can see Messer's going to get real close. He's going to give him just a little bit of a tap that time by. 22 laps to go this time by. Tanton holding on to the lead. Messer there in 2nd. Duncan has himself a little bit of breathing room in front of and in behind. Travis Roma, Craig Tully. Now the top 5, Noel Fougere in the 36 car, having himself a bit of a recovery, and I believe that 36 has fresh tires. Indeed, he does. He came down pit road 35 laps to go and spent about 20 seconds or so down there. So he's got 4 tires. He's got some of the virtual sheet metal banged out on that thing, and he might have a little bit more fuel in that thing putting some weight in the back end of that race car. So I think that 36 might be handling a little bit better than it was earlier on.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's praying for another, maybe another 2 cautions to maybe stack that field back up, give him the opportunity to make a couple more passes. But at a racetrack like this, when they get spread out, it's kind of hard to track somebody down unless you're a lot quicker. Now, with 4 tires and a little bit more fuel in the tank, he might just have that advantage as we go back to the leaders. Messer is doing everything. He was nearly sideways. The only line he hasn't tried is what I call the watermelon line, and that's right sticking it up to the wall and just keeping your foot pinned. But I don't think that works on iRacing.
Yeah, that's way up on the top shelf where Grandma keeps the cookies up by the wall. I think that's I think that's a dirt racing thing. Is that dirt racing?
I haven't heard that one in dirt racing before.
We should get a cookie sponsor. Cookies.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Still bumper to bumper up front. You can see they're almost pulling away from Riley Duncan. It's about a second on back to the 3rd place, and everyone kind of single file here at this point. It's a little bit longer of a night here. We had some issues earlier on, had to get the event restarted, refired as it were, and you can see Tully there in 5th. Bougier just outside the top 5. JJ McRae in the 78. He's having himself a little bit of a run. He's got some fresher tires on that 78 car, I believe, came down after that spin a couple of laps ago. Negus having himself a pretty good recovery as well in the 55 car after some earlier issues. Just trying to get to the end of this one. 15 laps to go here at Oswego.
Yeah, when we spoke to Scott earlier on in the night, he had mentioned that he had kind of done a test run the other night and with a couple teammates, and he burnt up the right front really quickly. So his goal tonight was to keep the right front underneath him and just be there at the end. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's having a great run. He's up there. He's up there, just kind of peeking around the top 10. Generally, where we see Scott, and really clean, really fun driver. He's one of the only guys that I'm watching make the top side work. The 78 got underneath him, and he has not let up on that high side. And when he gets clear, he goes down to the bottom, but finds his way back up to the middle to high groove, and he's making it work really well.
And that's one of those deals too, where you almost have to trust that the high side is quicker than the bottom side. That's something that I used to struggle with all the time inside the virtual race car. It doesn't really compute. You want to take the short way around the racetrack, and sometimes that's not necessarily the quickest. And you can see that 55 car making it work, starting to pull away from that 78 car. Wade Craswell, Conrad Murphy in the mix as well. That's Mike Rhino in the 34 car making some laps, trying to get every point possible. We made mention earlier on that every point absolutely matters, and especially when you're these 2 cats up front. Canton Woldridge, Ryan Messer having themselves a war up front for the top 2 positions. We talked to Messer about 20 laps ago, Ashton. He's doing everything he can. He's tried high, he's tried low, and we may be getting ready to see him get ready to throw that kitchen sink out the window.
Yeah, and something I noticed there in 3 and 4, and it's been a couple of laps now that we've noticed that the 56 has moved up into the Ryan Messer line, we'll call it. He's about halfway off the wall, so there's half a lane below him, half a lane above, and it's almost making it harder for Messer to make any kind of moves because he's had half a length off the wall, creating a different kind of wall in front of Ryan Messer, who's not able to really find a door. At the same time, when that door is half open, sometimes late in the race, that means it's open enough for me to stick my nose in.
8 laps to go here, 7 laps as they cross the stripe. Oh, a little bit of a mix-up there for Messer. He's going to drop back quite a bit of track position there. I didn't quite catch what he hit, it seemed like, if anything at all. That's worth taking a peek at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there you can see it. He clipped the inside wall there. That's a rare mistake we see out of the one car.
It is, and he was just trying to do that deep entry, that high entry, and cut it down low and get underneath the 56. He had noticed that the 56 was running up a little higher, a little bit of a tapsy on the inside wall, and I told you earlier, Paul, that inside wall eats you up real quickly when you give it a little bumpski. So he's fallen back, but he hasn't really fallen back enough into the clutches of the 97. He's just going to have to try and track down the 56 again, which is not going to be easy to do with only 5 laps to go.
High five from the flag man. Everybody's still chasing down Tanton Woldridge. You saw Tanton hug that inside wall all the way around the racetrack that last time by, doing everything he can to take the short way around this racetrack and lead the final four. That count coming out of 3 and 4 once again to 3 laps to go. I don't know if there's enough time for Messer to get back to that back bumper of the 56 unless we got ourselves a quick caution.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier, the 56 was able to start up front, and he was able to save as much as he could, so he's probably able to put, that pedal down a little quicker than Messer is right now as they come to the line and 2 to go. 2 to go, so popsicle sticks from Bubbles in the flag stand.
And you can see Messer doing everything he can. He's getting a little bit closer, but I do not think he's going to have enough time. A white flag, a white rag from the man in the flag stand. 1 lap to go here at Oswego. Tanton Wooldridge leading all 124 laps to this point, trying to lead the very final one as we go into 3 and 4 for the final time. Ashton, take us home.
He's through the center of 3 and 4, coming out of 4, coming to the line, the 56 from the start all the way to the finish. Leader, winner, you've got it, Tanton Wooldridge.
Ryan Messer going to come home in second. Riley Duncan going to be your third place driver. Travis Roma, Craig Tully going to be the top 5 as they cross the stripe. Noel Fougere, Ashton Tucker, Danny Fitch, John Byron, and Devin Laffin going to be the top 5. And we'll talk to those top 3 drivers here momentarily as we get things racked and loaded up for the post-race show. And there you can see the top 10 drivers as they cross the stripe, and as they finish, we're going to slide that down because we're going to watch Tanton burn these tires down for a little bit.
Oh, I didn't think he was going. I thought he was just going to stop there and make it really awkward for the both of us. But he turned the brake bias down, and he's going to burn them up. And Ryan Messer slowly getting his helmet off and getting the belts undone. Window net is down. He's climbing out of the car. Ryan, we talked to you earlier on. There was about 20 laps to go, and you said you were going to do everything, and if you had to, throw the kitchen sink at him. What more did you need to get by this rocket of a 56?
I'm not too sure. Just after about lap 80-ish, I really tried to start crossing over and see what I could do. Part of me thought about the bumper, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to try to not do that, and just tried to work them over. And then just after a while, the tires, what the head left, gave out on me, and he was able to get away from me. I hit the inside wall there, so that kind of finished me off. But no, to come up from the back, I'll take a P2, and kind of still in the points run, but there's lots of racing left yet, so could be close the rest of the way.
Absolutely. We talked about the handful of races left to go, and every point matters in these ones. So coming from the back in a P2, you can't be disappointed at. It's a great run, and we always ask the same questions, and it always comes up, who helps you get here, buddy?
Just, I guess, a shout out. I'm sure my family is probably all watching this one too. They like to tune into these, so shout out to them. My real world sponsors, the RBR guys, for putting this league on. It's been a lot of fun. You guys at Vidane for broadcasting.
Awesome. Congratulations. Great run all the way from the back up to a P2. And next week, I don't think you got to start as far back.
I sure hope not.
Congratulations again, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Paul, I believe you caught up with another driver here on the front stretch, and another great run by Tanton Wooldridge.
Yeah, you made mention Ryan Messer driving through the field a couple of times. One guy that didn't have to do that was Tanton Wooldridge. Started up front, parked at P1, led all the laps, got the trophy, getting on home. Not bad for a night's work here, Tanton.
Yeah, that was a good night. That was a hard one. Ryan was there. Once he got through the field, he was hard to hold off, and there's just so much talent in this field. I mean, I was thinking about it there at the end of the race. If you look through the field, I think there's like 5 or 6 Yard Gear 250 wins between this field. So there's just an insane amount of talent, and Ryan's one of them. So that was a really, really hard race to try and hold him off. Dad texted me as soon as it was over that he went out the windshield, and that's what we tried to do tonight. And I'm really looking forward to 2025 because me and Ryan have been racing on here the last 2 seasons of RBR, dueling it out. It feels like almost every single week, and I think we're going to run a lot of the same races in real life this summer, and hopefully it's the same of the one and I guess the O1 car up front.
And that's always cool to kind of bridge that gap between sim racing and real racing, and especially if it's somebody that you've raced so competitively with in one and then the other. So that's got to be neat to kind of do all these races in the sim rig and then be able to kind of jump in the real racing car and know that if you look in the rearview mirror and you see that one car, you've got at least a couple of laps before he bumps you.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, everybody in here runs really clean, and Ryan's probably one of the most perfect examples of it. So, yeah, no, it was just a really fun night tonight.
Picking up another win here in the RBR series on VidaneTV. Who's out there watching Tanton? Tanton, we'll give you the microphone.
Yeah, big one. I'll give it to tonight his dad. He's down, I think, somewhere's in New York, getting ready to go to South Africa on a work trip. So, big thanks to him for tuning in. Lane, my roommate from last year at university, I know he tunes in every night, so I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess the real world sponsors, the biggest one is O1 Motorsports for giving me an opportunity to go pro late model racing in 2024 and 2025. So big thank you to them. McKinnon Bros Service Center, they've been with me for all 11 seasons of my racing career since I was 7 years old. So those are the big ones that I'll give a shout out to tonight. And obviously a big thanks to you guys for putting on these live streams and Craig for putting on these races. I know tonight there was some issues with what server it was in, and Craig handled it perfectly, getting a session switched over and everything. So that was really good to see. So yeah, thank you everybody, and I guess we'll move on to next week.
Absolutely solid win here tonight. Very good performance. Congratulations, Stan.
Thank you.
And we'll slide a little bit further on down pit road. Ashton, you've caught up with Mr. Duncan there in the 97 car.
I have. What a great run, and it's nice to see the 97 up here on the front stretch. Riley, you were there all night long. You had some quick times. What more did you need to catch these two guys ahead of you?
Tires.
The key word, it seems, from everybody is tires. So did you at least at one point think of maybe a pit stop at one point to try and get those tires, or was it just too long of green flag runs?
Set. So we can't really change tires, but my plan was try to take it easy for most of it, which I did, but once you start on the outside, it's kind of hard to save tires. This track likes to eat them up.
Absolutely, and we do this week in, week out, and you're always knocking at the door. And what are the sponsors and family members that are watching that help you get here?
Easy Clean and R&M Motorsports, and Mark Keeler. He made my paint for me, so thanks to him.
Awesome. Like I said, great run. It's nice to see you up on the podium, and hopefully we'll see you here again next week.
That's the plan.
Awesome. It's always the plan to be on the podium and get those points. So another great night, Paul. One of those nights that just started off with a little bit of rain in the system, and we got that out. We got the track dried, and we got the cars back out on the racetrack, and got Tanton Woolridge up out front, and Ryan Messer, Riley Duncan, Travis Roma, Craig Tully, a great top five.
Absolutely, and one of the perks about working in TV is they always feed you pretty good. There's a boss man, Craig Tully, bringing us a case of hot dogs. I guess they didn't sell over at the merchandise hauler over there, but Tully with a solid top five here tonight. Craig, good run tonight, up through the field a little bit, little bit of beating and banging, but all in all, a pretty good race.
Oh yeah, 5th place. I don't know if I deserve an interview, that's for sure. I just jumped on to say thanks for being patient with the server issue there. Never had that happen before. I don't know. It usually defaults to the East Coast US server, but anyways, figured it out. We got to figure something out for these top guys. Tanton and Ryan just got it figured out. I think they must have. I don't know if they left their computer all summer.
Putting on a lot of laps for sure, and between the practice laps, I think the tires. I think that answers our questions. We might have to start there.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that track. I mean, yeah, the guys were saying it reminded them a lot of Myrtle, and Myrtle's my least favorite. Yeah, so yeah, but we tried it out. and yeah, we'll go from there.
Everything turned out better than expected. Who's out there watching tonight, Craig? Who gets it done for you?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Royal Door for jumping on for the this race sponsor. I think we got Vino's Truck and Auto for our next couple of races. So thank you to them. You know, I'd have to float most of this myself if it wasn't for them. So I appreciate them paying you guys, and you know, we enjoy watching it afterwards. Some guys won't admit it, but I bet you they're watching it right now. So they love seeing themselves going around in circles. So yeah, it's awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about, entertaining the masses here at VidaneTV. That's going to do it here for us tonight. Tomorrow night, the Turn 4 podcast Winter iRacing Series. They're going to be racing tomorrow night. That's going to be a remote broadcast show for me. I'll be out somewhere in Mississippi, I think, getting ready to do the big go-kart show in Batesville. That's going to be on Pit Road TV. Be sure you tune in for that. NEP is off this Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving if you are in America. Happy Thanksgiving if you're in Canada, too. I think it's a little bit belated for up north of the wall. But that's going to do it here for us tonight. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., Ashton Reiki. We'll catch you on the flip side. And when we do,
We'll be doing it live.
we'll be doing it live.